Hello, everybody. Welcome along to Sportsbet TV with me, Paul Alster. I'm looking forward to the final day of Royal Ascot on Saturday, the 18th of June. It's been a really glorious meeting weather-wise, and the first 2 days proved successful for us. I'm having to record this bulletin earlier than planned. I hope to record it Friday morning, but due to one or two issues, I shall be recording it now, which is Thursday tea time, sort of towards dusk on Thursday. And I'll be giving you 5 selections in 5 races on the final day on Saturday. So get your pens and papers ready, because there's a few I'm quite interested in. Now, very quickly, I've seen most of the races so far on Thursday. Mixed bag. Mojo Star backed off the boards, ran an absolute stormer in the Gold Cup, just finding only Kyprios too good in the last 75 yards or so. That was a great effort and a nice each way payout for us. We just missed out on the each way with Surrey Mist in the King George V handicap. He was 7th of the 19th, and it was the same again with Fia McHugh in the Britannia handicap. He only had one behind him with a furlong and a half to run. It absolutely took off, having been hampered, and finished 7th of the 30 runners there in the Britannia handicap. At 66 to 1 he went off, and he ran a storming race. Have a look, you'll see how well Fia McHugh went. Well, as there, I still don't know what happened with Vaffatino, so I'll be waiting to see what happens. It might even resolve during this particular recording. Anyway, if you're new, I'm a tipster who looks at generally double-figure odds and decent prices. I don't always tend to agree with the way the bookmakers form their markets and what they see as the most likely horse to win. So if you're looking for decent prices on a regular basis, then press the subscribe button just below this screen. Anyway, on with the show. Let's go to my first choice on Saturday. In the 2:30, the first race after the Royal Procession, it's the Chesham Stakes, 7 furlongs, 2-year-olds only, good to firm, 14 runners. And there's a horse going in this that is the banker of the meeting for a lot of people. It is Aidan O'Brien's Albert Munnings. Now, Aidan has won 4 of the last 6 runnings of this race, including with the tremendous Churchill. So he does tend to target this with his good horses. And Albert Munnings looked a potential star when he won on debut at Leopardstown over 7 furlongs, absolutely murdered the opposition by 5 lengths there. And he really could be very, very good. He's a half-brother to the Oaks winners, Snowfall. He's by Dubawi. I'd say that if he does win this race on Saturday, he'll probably be a favourite for the Derby. So those of you that like to play long-term anti-post, you've been told. But he's no value, of course, and I'm not one to really be betting odds on, as you know. So I'm looking for something to put up against him, and I've had a really good look through at some of the others. So many once raced horses that could improve leaps and bounds for the second outing, many of them very well bred. Legend of Xanadu is one who we do know about because he's had 5 runs for Mick Shannon, and he recently won the Woodcote Stakes at the Derby meeting at Epsom. He's a really tough horse, and he'll be a good yardstick, I think. I'll be surprised if he's good enough. But there is one horse that really interests me here, and his name is Crypto Force. And he's my choice here, each way, to make a race of it with Albert Munnings. Crypto Force also trained in Ireland, but this one by Michael O'Callaghan and the Mount of Ross Orion, who's ridden a few for us this week, including Mojo Star, on whom he rode an absolute peach of a race, even in defeat. Now, Crypto Force is by an up-and-coming sire, Time Test, and he's out of a Galileo mare who was a winner over 9 furlongs. So there is that stamina on the damn side, meaning that there's every chance that he'll stay this 7 furlongs and more, even as a 2-year-old. Now, here, when you talk about business and horse trading, if you like, one of the best pieces of business I think I've seen in a very long time was Michael O'Callaghan. He bought this horse on the 28th of April for 160,000 guineas. That's no small amount. The horse had previously been sold for 65, so whoever sold it to Michael O'Callaghan made a lovely profit. He was obviously looked the part. Anyway, Crypto Force made his debut for Michael O'Callaghan at the Curragh on June the 1st. That's just a few weeks ago, and he travelled like a dream. He picked up really well and looked a proper horse, coming away in the end to beat August Rodin by 2 1/4 lengths. That one, by the way, trained by Aidan O'Brien. He didn't get the best of runs the second, but it wouldn't have caught the winner. And Joseph O'Brien had a well thought of horse back in third. So he bought the horse for 160,000 guineas 5 weeks before. Then it goes and wins at the Curragh. And then there was a sale of racehorses in London the night before Royal Ascot started on Monday night. And do you know how much he sold this horse for? 5 weeks after he bought it for 160 grand, he sold it for 900,000 guineas. That is a profit before commissions of 740,000. That's a remarkable piece of selling by Michael O'Callaghan. And to make things even better, the horse has stayed in his stable, so he's still training it. So he's got the money in the bank, plus he's training the horse still. So the new owners, who include Amo Racing, who own Mojo Star, will be looking for a return. They've obviously spent a huge amount of money on this horse, thinking he has a big chance at Ascot. And I agree with them. And at the time of this recording, there's 20 to 1 on offer each way. They're only betting 3 places, what I can see, with Paddy Power and Betfair. And I think I'd rather bet him at 20 to 1 each way, the £900,000 purchase, than bet the 8 to 11 about Albert Munnings. But it's a fascinating start to day 5, and Crypto Force, I think, will attract money. So you might want to get on early. So that's the first one. Now on to my second choice on Saturday. Race number 2 for us at Ascot, the 420, is the Platinum Jubilee Stakes. The Group 1 over 6 furlongs, one of the best 6 furlong races in the world. It attracts a very big field of high-class sprinters from Britain, from Ireland, from Australia, from the United States, and from Japan. So a truly international race here. And after the victory of Australia's Nature Strip in the King's Stand Stakes, he was brilliant there. There's every chance that his trainer, Chris Waller, could go very close, because he's got a horse here called Home Affairs, who's only a 3-year-old, and he actually beat Nature Strip in Australia the time before last. So a really interesting runner, but he's short at 2 to 1 favourite, and he'll probably never have run on ground quite as quick as this. So while he has to be feared and could well go on and win, he's a short price, I have to say. Now, the American star Campanella has won at the last 2 Royal Ascots for Wesley Ward, one as a juvenile, and then was awarded the Commonwealth Cup last year on the disqualification of the first past the post there. And so this is a horse that goes so well at Royal Ascot, and the fast crown won't be a problem, I don't think, for Campanelle. The Americans also run Artorias, who's obviously highly thought of to have made the journey over. And then Japan, who amazingly, despite so many good horses running here from Japan, have never had a winner at Royal Ascot. They've got a horse called Grenadier Guards, and this is a horse who's run very well at a high level in Japan at up to a mile, so stamina won't be an issue, and it likes quick ground. But will it be fast enough? That's the question that we'll find out. Godolphin, well, they're represented by Creative Force for Charlie Appleby. The horse won the champion sprint over course and distance at the October meeting last autumn. He beat Glenn Shield, who of course is also a Group 1 course and distance winner, but tends to need it on the soft side, as it was last year when he was second. So I think Glenn Shield will do well to repeat that. Then Ireland have a terrific course called A Case of You for Ado McGuinness. It won £250,000 when landing the Group 1 Alcos Spint over in Dubai in March. It beat Happy Romance, who goes again, and it'll be better as well for a recent third in Ireland in a Group 2, which looked a little bit of a sighter for this race. So those are a lot of the contenders, but I'm just going to go for one at a big price here. The horse in question is called Double or Bubble. She's a 5-year-old mare trained by Chris Wall and the mount of Jack Mitchell. She's by Exceed and Excel, a sire of very good sprinters, and has a career record of 5 wins from 11 starts and nearly a 50% strike rate. Her wins coming at 6 furlongs and 7 furlongs, almost all at good to firm ground. So the quick ground will probably be a bonus for her. Now, she is rated 108, which is a high rating, but in this really lofty company, it means that she does have a little bit to find on the figures. But I believe she is improving, and when mares start to improve, then they really can come forward leaps and bounds, even at the age of 5. She won a Pontefract listed race last August on fast ground over 6 furlongs. Then she was second in not 1 but 2 Group 3 races over 7 furlongs on good to firm ground, just not quite getting home over the 7 there. She reappeared this spring at Newmarket at the April meeting on good to firm ground, note that, in the Group 3 Aberdeen Stakes, and she stayed on really well after leading 2 furlongs out, despite being joined inside the final furlong by Garris. She kept on really bravely to hold him at bay. He's going to reoppose again. But trainer Chris Wall really does believe she has improved. I've been reading 1 or 2 pieces on her, and that she is getting faster as she gets older. And he said that if she gets 6 furlongs on quick ground at Royal Ascot, she will go for the Platinum Jubilee and she will run well. Well, of course, a lot of trainers think that about their horses, but Chris Wall's a shrewdie, and I think that she could go very well and belie her odds. And at the time of this recording, she's offered at 40 to 1, 40 to 1 each way for 6 places, and that is a general price. So I think, even with all the international stars there, I think this 5-year-old mare on quick ground, 6 furlongs and improving, double old bubble, can give us a real shout for our money in the Platinum Jubilee. I've got 3 more for you on Saturday. The Wokingham Handicap is at 5 o'clock at Royal Ascot. It is a cavalry charge, 28 runners on good to firm ground. The evidence seems to be on Wednesday and Thursday that you want to be more to the centre rather than the high numbers on stand side. And the anti-pose favourite is Fresh, trained by James Fanshawe, who's drawn single figures, which might not be a bad draw at all. She ran very well when behind Vafotino last time out over 7 furlongs, and the drop back in trip won't harm. Now, I'm not going to go through too many because you could be here till Christmas Eve. Anyway, but there are 4 that have interested me here. Black Rod is the first of them, trained by Michael Dodds. He's drawn 25 though, won at Newmarket over 6 furlongs in a really good handicap in the spring, and has gone up £5. And Michael Dodds is a tremendous trainer of sprinters, as we know. You may remember last year in the Air Gold Cup, I went against all the trends and told you to back Bielsa coming up the stands rails on his own, which is exactly what he did, and he won it. So that was a happy days. And I do think that Bielsa for Kevin Ryan is set to run well again, because after a little bit of a spell in the doldrums, he showed definite signs of a return to form when 7th of 22 behind Dakota Gold last time out at York, and he was staying on. He is drawn 30, so he might be doing another solo, this time towards the stand side. Another horse of interest is Apollo 1, trained by Peter Sharambulos. This one was 3rd in a decent race on the all-weather last time out, has a good pull at the weights with 1 or 2 runners, including Black Rod for their meetings earlier this season and last season. So I think Apollo 1 at a big prize could go well. But in the end, despite being drawn 27, which might not be ideal, I do think that everything else has come in favour of SUMMERGHAND, trained by David O'Mara in the mount of James Doyle. Now, this horse is a real grand old timer. You'll have seen him run so many races at the high level. He's won 13 of his 65 races. He's placed 16 further times. He was 6th at Dakota Gold in that race at York, in which Bielsa was 7th recently, and he was showing signs of coming back to form, staying on really well inside the final furlong. Now, the thing about SUMMERGHAND is he's suited by a really big field and an absolute blistering end-to-end gallop. He also needs fast ground to be seen at his best, and that was the situation back in August 2020 when he won the Stewards Cup at Glorious Goodwood, beating a massive field on fast ground off a mark of 108 on good to firm ground. Now, remember as well that last year he actually beat the July Cup winner Oxted on good to firm ground over 6 furlongs at Newmarket, shows that he's a very high-class horse. And then he won later on in the season back at Newmarket in a listed race on good to firm ground again over 6 furlongs. And that was off a mark of 112. Well, he was 8th down the field behind Bielsa in the Air Gold Cup. He's now dropped, since the Air Gold Cup, 11 pounds and is down to a mark of 101. Now, that is, for me, a very, very tempting mark. Now, a lot of you are going to say, what on earth are you talking about, Paul? This horse is almost old enough to smoke. Well, he is an 8-year-old, I grant. But David O'Mara is a past master at keeping the older horses sweet. And we can name all sorts of them. He's done it year in, year out. Lord Glitters is one off the top of my head that always seems to keep running well, even at 8 and 9. I know that most winners of this race are 5 years old and less, but cast your mind back 5 years to 2017. There was a horse won the race called Outdo, and he was an 8-year-old. And who trained him? David O'Mara. And he was 25 to 1. And this horse, SUMMERGHAND, an 8-year-old, trained by David O'Mara, is offered at 25 to 1 at the time of this recording, each way for 7 places. And that's with Bet365, Paddy Power and Betfair Sportsbook. So I think that despite the draw, SUMMERGHAND is going to run a cracking race here for James Doyle, terrific big race jockey. And I think he can roll back the years and possibly be one of the few horses in history to win both the Stewards Cup and the Wokingham. So something to look forward to on Saturday afternoon, SUMMERGHAND. And then really quickly, 2 more for you in the last 2 races of the meet, and we might as well because we're ahead on the week. The 5:35, the Golden Gates Handicap, 1.25 miles, 3-year-olds only. I'm not going to go into this too much, but Miss the Cut is the horse that's likely to be favourite for George Bowie and the Australian star jockey James McDonald. The horse is on a hat-trick after wins at Salisbury and Pontefract and is rated 95 for his handicap debut. He could well be nicely handicapped. He'll be well backed. Now, Godolphin seem determined to have a really a proper go at this. They're running 4, including the top weight Aldous Huxley, who was only beaten a neck at Goodwood last time out in listed company. They've also got Falling Shadow, which William Buick has chosen to ride. This one, a comfortable winner of a Newbury maiden over 1.25 miles this trip, and is rated 92 for his handicap debut. And they've got Blue Trail with the Doyler on board, James Doyle, a dual all-weather winner, and 3rd in the Esher Cup at Sandown, which is often a race that needs to be followed because horses tend to come out of that handicap race and do well throughout the season. But the other Godolphin runner here is called HONITON and is trained by John and Thursday Gosden, the father and son team, and the mount of Frankie Dettori, who, as of Thursday afternoon, wasn't having things really go his way with the likes of Stradivarius and 1 or 2 others. But HONITON, a 2.25 length 3rd at Newcastle in a 1.25 mile novice, and that was in May. That turned out to be a great run behind Eldarov, the horse that won for us on day 2 of Royal Ascot. And after that, HONITON then went on to rock up by 9 lengths at Sandown last time out, over 1.25 miles. And that form could well be good enough to win this. When you use Eldarov as a yardstick, you have to think that off 94, HONITON could have got in here quite lightly. And I think he's well handicapped. Most of them are going 8 and 9 to 1, but at the time of this recording, 10 to 1 available each way for 5 places with Bet365. That is HONITON, each way 10 to 1, 5.35, the Golden Gates handicap over 1.25 miles. And then to the last race of Royal Ascot 2022. The 6:10 on Saturday is the world's longest stakes race. The Queen Alexander, 2 miles, 5.5 furlongs. So few horses actually stay this trip. There are 14 declared on the good to firm ground, but will Trushan run? He didn't run in the Gold Cup. If he does win, the race is his for the taking because he will stay. But is Alan King going to risk him getting jarred up and maybe miss out on cracking at the Goodwood Cup and Doncaster Cup and others? I don't know. I think he probably will be a non-runner. And if so, I think Wordsworth for Aidan O'Brien might go off favourite, a likely sword for Ballydoyle, who will stay. We've also got last year's Chester Cup winner, Falconate. He was favourite for this very race 12 months ago, but he got stuck in the soft ground, finishing 9th. If it's decent ground, as it's expected to be, quick ground, it won't be against Falconate. But there is one fascinating horse in this race, for me, one of the most fascinating horses of the whole meeting, and it is French raider TIMOUR, trained by the legendary André Fabre, and the man of the Australian star James McDonald. A fascinating combination here. Now, this is a 4-year-old who's only won one of his 11 starts, and that was a Saint-Cloud maiden over 1.25 miles in May of last year. So he's only ever won at less than half the distance he'd been asked to travel on Saturday. But he was a close third in September in the Group 2 Prix Niel at Longshot, a race that, had he won it, he might have gone for the Arc. So he's a horse that has been highly regarded, even though his win rate so far has not been impressive. He's had 3 runs this spring. They've all been fairly uninspiring over 1.5 miles at France. So you ask yourself, why on earth is André Fabre bringing this horse over to take on horses that many of whom are proven stayers? He's never gone beyond 1.5 miles. He's never run on fast ground. But then you remember that André Fabre knows more about training horses than most of the other Royal Ascot trainers have forgotten. And so I think you need to take into account this statistic that Fabre has had 9 winners from 66 runners at Ascot over the years. He's also had 18 runners placed, 2nd or 3rd, and a further 12 finished 4th. That means that as far as finishing in the first 4, which is what we're looking for this race, he's 58% of all his runners all time have finished placed at Ascot in the first 4. He's also gone and booked James McDonald, which I think is really very, very interesting. And I think he thinks this horse is a slow boat who is going to stay and that will like fast ground. And even though there may be a deduction because Truchan may well not run, 22 to 1 is available at the time of this recording. The 25 to 1 has gone. The 22 to 1 is available with most firms. And I'm expecting that TIMOUR will outrun his odds. And I'm sure André Fabre hasn't sent him across the channel just for some fresh British air. So that is my final choice on the final day. 5 races for us there. I want to thank you all very much for joining me throughout Royal Ascot and for your comments, most of which have been very encouraging. And it's been nice to be able to find you some winners and some good placed horses. I'm hoping there will have been more by the time you see this video. But from all of us here at Sportsbet for this Royal Ascot, from Robert Waterman, from Josie Smith as well behind the scenes, and from me, Paul Alster, I'm signing off for now. I'll see you same time next week. Bye-bye for now.